Hi there, I'm the Mythkeeper. Welcome back to my channel, the best place on the internet for Pathfinder lore and history. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe. If there's anything you'd like me to talk about in particular, let me know in the comments below. This week we're doing another video in my religion series. I've talked all about angels and demons, and now we're going to look at some of the more neutral outer planar types. Specifically this week we're going to take a look at Psychopomps. Psychopomps are the shepherds of the dead, and they're one of the most unique and interesting, and I would say almost defining creature types of the Pathfinder universe, so I hope you enjoy this.
In the Quarterfoe archives of Caliphas there lies a glass case showcasing the sapphire molars of Aterthenia, also known as the Gilded Lich. This ancient terror from Sarkoris was said to have stolen the lives of 1,000 devout souls. However, her reign of terror was put to an end by a mythical figure named Mrtyu, the Spider Angel. Along the coast of Katapesh, a saying circulates among the locals: in every bird's mouth, an infant's revenge. It refers to an event when a mage named Vale blocked souls from entering newborns within 100 miles radius of Tivin's Reed. When he appeared to collect his ransom from the townsfolk, he was attacked by a swarm of strange alien birds. In the decaying corridors of Kermaga, rogue freemen promised deliverance from both bondage and the cycle of life and death. However, some unknown force exposed their deceitful practices, and they were eventually dismissed as just another strange sect in the City of Strangers. Throughout various instances like these, the balance between life and death is often disrupted, but then quickly restored. Some may think there is a beneficent steward overseeing souls, but in reality, the guardians of death are numerous, and not all of them could be considered benevolent. These beings, called Psychopomps, serve as guides of souls across the planes and oversee the paths of death. Though they often invoke primal fears in mortals, their motives are not driven by neither terror nor reassurance. Instead, they work to ensure the proper flow of souls throughout the planes, the vital heartbeat of the multiverse itself. Like angels and demons, Psychopomps are post-mortal lifeforms, and typically they are ascended petitioners of the Boneyard. Petitioners whose final destination after judgment is the Boneyard itself are typically either very neutral or balanced souls, or they are worshippers or disciples of Pharasma herself. Psychopomps are elusive beings, often misunderstood due to their limited interactions with the living. They only reveal their vital functions to those who have a personal familiarity with death. As entities that have little direct impact on the mortal worlds, they operate primarily in the great beyond, serving the cause of preserving eternity at the behest of their goddess Pharasma, essential for the continuity of creation. Psychopomps act as stewards of the natural order, focusing on the passage of life to death and back again, especially on the preservation of the River of Souls, a transitive plane I discuss in more detail in my Planar Cosmology 101 video. They ensure souls reach their proper planes, preventing any who might prey upon them and correcting any other disruptions in the natural order. Undead are seen as abominations by Psychopomps, and they take action to destroy or hinder them when necessary to maintain the proper transitions between life and death. All Psychopomps ultimately answer to Pharasma, whose grand designs guide their actions. While Psychopomps may interpret her intentions differently, they are united in fulfilling her edicts and maintaining the balance of souls across the planes. Despite this unified purpose, Psychopomps are not of single mind, and their interpretations of Pharasma's intentions often lead to divergent actions or conflicts among them. In the Boneyard, which is Pharasma's realm near the heart of the outer planes, Psychopomps work tirelessly to ensure the smooth categorization and processing of the dead. Psychopomps are specialized beings with various types such as guardians, guides, hunters, judges, and scholars, each fulfilling their roles in the River of Souls and the Boneyard. They work with clarity of intent and sense of duty, ensuring the proper flow of souls through the afterlife. Psychopomp Guardians. Psychopomp Guardians stand as defenders against predators that would seek to feed on souls traveling in the river. They are beings assigned to patrol specific jurisdictions between life and death, which can span continents, worlds, star systems, or other more esoteric expanses. Because deaths are occurring continuously, it is a rare occurrence indeed for a single soul to receive a Psychopomp escort on its journey to judgment. As the dead from numerous worlds gather during their exodus from the mortal realm, they become more susceptible to notice, and thus require increased vigilance. Particularly vulnerable are the first moments after death, when souls are often in solitude, making them easier targets for malevolent forces. Among the prominent Psychopomp guardians are the Vanths, known as Waywatchers, who manifest as raptorial skeletons. They dutifully watch over heavily traveled routes between life and death. On the other hand, the more specialized Memitim Psychopomps gravitate towards places of mass slaughter, overseeing the transitions of numerous spirits at once. The Algies instead protect and sometimes retrieve souls at risk of being claimed by other entities, particularly spellcasters who dabble with otherworldly forces but never officially pledge their souls. It's essential to note that Psychopomp watchfulness does not solely begin at the moment of death. These beings take into account mortal life experiences, the development of philosophies, and how lives shape and alter fate's grand tapestry. The Olithros Psychopomps are particularly mindful of those who might disrupt fate during their mortal existence, causing undesirable consequences for countless others. Those who cross paths with these potent guardians risk swift destruction, either at the hands of the Psychopomp or due to the intervention of a more powerful agent of death called to address the transgressor. Psychopomp Hunters. In the unpredictable journey towards judgment, spirits can find themselves entangled in various forms of chaos, whether by chance or malicious intent. To rectify such wayward paths, there exist rare and specialized Psychopomp hunters dedicated to freeing astray souls and ensuring others do not face the same perils. When the undead become a particular menace or when called upon by Pharasma's servants, Esobok and Shocky Psychopomps take action to exorcise the unliving and liberate wayward spirits. However, when the Boneyard's fury reaches its pinnacle, it unleashes its wrath in the form of the Marigna Psychopomps. These Inquisitors of Death possess broad authority to identify threats to the River of Souls and set things right. Psychopomp Judges. Impersonal and unwavering, Psychopomp Judges stand as sentinels over the myriad portals and planar passages that intricately weave through the Boneyard, determining who is permitted to pass and for what reason. With meticulous scrutiny, they assess spirits, evaluate lifetimes, and listen to the pleas of those who seek special entitlement to a soul. These tireless guardians of balance bear the weight of their roles with unyielding resolve, placing utmost importance on efficiency and impartiality in judgment. Some judges serve as teachers or advisors to the recently dead. In fact, not all spirits who enter the Boneyard realize they have died. Katrina Psychopomps meet these souls, helping to convince them of the finality of their fate to ease a spirit's passing. Among the ranks of the Psychopomp judges, the dragon-like Yamarajes hold a prominent position, second only to the deities of the Boneyard, especially the Ushers and Pharasma herself. Using their formidable power, they deftly expedite souls through their courts, and if necessary, also safeguard the intricate pathways of the Boneyard itself. Psychopomp Scholars. Within the Boneyard, no soul passes without profound contemplation, its life meticulously assessed as it stands at the threshold of its ultimate judgment. The memories of the judged are safeguarded and preserved by hordes of Psychopomps who serve as the living memories of this sacred realm. They diligently record the ebb and flow of time, chronicling the answers to the timeless questions that shape destinies. Among these custodians, the Nossois stand out as masked avian Psychopomps who forge connections with the living. As the Boneyard's most abundant clerks, their fluttering wings fill the Gothic halls of the plane's edifices, while they tirelessly compile and organize information from Pharasma's court. Other Psychopomp scholars, specialists known as the Esseneths, or more commonly Soul Stitchers, are dispassionate surgeons with specialized knowledge to repair damaged souls. Not all the lore of the Psychopomps is fit to share with the dead. The scholarly domain of the Vidu Psychopomps holds secrets that must be kept untold and unshared. Although powerful beings may gain access to these enigmatic scholars' lore with a modicum of bureaucratic hassle, the vast majority of beings have little hope of prying loose the mysteries of death held within. Psychopomp Ushers. Just as with other post-mortal life forms like angels and demons, the most powerful of Psychopomps acquire a spark of divinity in the course of their post-mortal existence. Powerful and ancient Psychopomp demigods are commonly called the Ushers, unique beings who may even work independently of Pharasma, although they all remain respectful and deferential to the Lady of Graves. Psychopomp Ushers have developed their own purpose and point of view on life and death. Each have their own unique philosophies and may have followers in their own right. Despite being of a similar power level to the Imperial Lords or the fiendish demigods, the Psychopomp Ushers have far fewer mortal worshippers. Since Psychopomps are less proactive than angels, demons, and similarly aligned outsiders, mortals know much less of them. Spellcasters who stumble across them in dusty tombs sometimes seek to summon psychopomps in hopes of bargaining for a bit more time before death, or for a loved one's return to life. But such tasks are beyond all but the most powerful of psychopomps. Those groups that do worship the Ushers are known as the Fetal Sects, and they are considered branches that sprouted from Phrasma's church, initially sharing the same objectives of providing solace to the dying and assisting the grieving survivors in coping with their loss. As time passed, however, these sects delved more deeply into the lore of the Psychopomp Ushers, as they sought to understand the true purpose of death. The Psychopomp Ushers themselves held differing perspectives on these matters, and this led to philosophical conflicts among the earliest of the Fetal Sects, resulting in divisions and even violence among them. Eventually, the warring sects reached a compromise, agreeing to disagree on the intricacies of the soul, and instead they redirected their focus towards aiding individuals in achieving a smooth transition from life to death. Consequently, the Fetal Sects emphasized health, wellness, and preparing as many people as possible for a wholesome existence and a satisfying passage to the care of the Psychopomps. Today, the Fetal Sects warmly embrace farmers, hunters, physicians, and anyone else capable of helping others lead lives with access to good food, clean water, and comfort. Their members continue to guide the departed and offer solace to the bereaved, and they gladly welcome gravediggers and morticians into their ranks. It is these latter professionals who keep the ongoing doctrinal disputes alive within the Fetal Sects, engaging in debates about the distinct views and realms of their respective Psychopomp Ushers. Atropos, the Last Sister. Also known as the Judge of Judges, Atropos presides over the courts of the Boneyard, serving as the ultimate arbiter of mortal fates, second only to Pharasma herself. As Pharasma's youngest daughter, she is also referred to as the Last Sister, although little is known about her other sisters, assuming they exist at all. Among the Psychopomps, rumors circulate that Atropos is being groomed by Pharasma to take her place when the universe eventually meets its end and is reborn. However, for the present, Atropos's dominion lies more in the realm of sleep than true death. She also takes on another, more challenging task, overseeing the souls of deceased children. Atropos takes the form of a magnificent and sizable nosoi, resembling a wolf, adorned with a silver mask and an infinitely long peacock tail. The tail carries one living eye for each soul she will ever pass judgment on, though she occasionally adopts the guise of a young human girl when appearing in her mother's court. Her realm is shared with Phrasma's palace, but her divine influence also extends over the Boneyard's court and planar gates. Barzahk the Passage. Appearing as an immense migratory bird, often taking the form of a corvid, but occasionally resembling a robin or other songbird, Barzahk dons robes and carries a staff and keyhole. Known as the Passage, Barzahk grapples with comprehending the finite world beyond the dead roads, and rarely ventures outside this peculiar transitive realm. His primary responsibility involves overseeing the movements of psychopomps and consequently caring for the souls of travelers and those who meet their end far away from home. This particular experience poses significant challenges to many petitioners and can cause souls to linger in the afterlife for an extended period. Barzahk is afflicted with an insatiable wanderlust, often roaming aimlessly and neglecting his designated duties. The psychopomps under Barzahk's authority enjoy an extraordinary degree of autonomy, even by the standards of the Boneyard. This autonomy can lead many of their powerful servants to feel a sense of kinship with the true Ushers, a notion that genuine Ushers are keen on dispelling. Ceyannan the Shepherd. Ceyannan's existence originated from the swirling currents and foam within the River of Souls, a result of mortals' resistance to death. A fragment of the shepherd is said to reside in the heart of every mortal, enabling this watchful demigod to detect those who attempt to escape the grasp of death. With an unwavering determination to reclaim those lost fragments, Ceyannan gathers wayward souls, the lost, the stolen, and the stubborn, and ensures their return to the Boneyard, the realm of the afterlife. It is rumored that when the last mortal passes away and the shepherd becomes whole, Ceyannan will finally embrace death itself. Until that eventuality, Ceyannan persistently hunts for missing souls, harboring a particular enmity towards those who seek to obliterate souls or pervert them into undeath. As the patron of lost souls, Ceyannan has also assumed the responsibility of containing any soul that poses a threat to the very fabric of existence itself. Ceyannan's appearance features ash-white flesh, strangely juxtaposed with an impossibly beautiful visage. Their humanoid frame is adorned with a pair of wings covered in the oily black feathers of a carrion bird. Often seen wielding the apostasy, a simple shepherd's crook capable of unraveling any mortal soul's faith in a god, Ceyannan does not claim any particular realm. Instead, they roam the material plane and the river of souls, tirelessly searching for their lost portions. Dammar the Denied. While the majority of ushers are preoccupied with matters of death, Dammar, in stark contrast, is wholly fixated on matters of life. As a physical representation of the first resurrection magic, the Denied assumes the role of a vigilant monitor for those who seek to journey back from the Boneyard to the mortal realm, ensuring that such passages are neither too frequent nor too effortless. Apart from their concern with returning from death, Dammar also serves as the usher of doctors, medicine, and interestingly alcohol, given its long history of use in medical preparations. According to legends, Dammar even created the concept of the hangover to grant mortals a glimpse beyond the veil of life. Dammar takes on the appearance of a portly androgynous figure, enshrouded in layers of silk robes, concealing their face behind a veil. Beneath these robes, some may detect 6 insectile legs, and Dammar possesses the ability to manifest dozens of arms at once to manage various tasks. This uncanny ability, coupled with their alleged fondness for cockroaches, has earned the Denied an unofficial reputation as the usher of insects and all things creeping. Imot, the symbol of doom. Imot, though commonly associated with mass deaths, owes their existence to mortal guilt and the longing for foresight in the aftermath of tragedies. Rather than directly causing loss of life, Imot's influence lies in the events leading up to significant disasters. As the penultimate usher of order, they have also orchestrated calamities when mortal culture persisted in their decline. Deep within Imot lies an irresistible compulsion to conceal clues to impending disasters within the natural world. These cryptic hints and bewildering equations, wrapped in perplexing symbolism, evoke anxiety in the minds of most mortals. For those unaware of the true nature of these premonitions, they experience subconscious unease. However, those who understand the usher's omens can use these clues to avert disaster, although many have deciphered these clues only when it's too late. Visually, Imot takes the form of a golden four-sided pyramid with a wing sprouting from each facet. They struggle to communicate verbally, and instead rely on conjuring images and symbols to convey their messages. Those who serve Imot for extended periods eventually learn this unique language, but it can prove frustrating for mortal worshippers and young psychopomps. Even fellow ushers find Imot challenging to comprehend, which explains why Imot rarely departs from their domain in the Tetravia, a realm of crossroads and towers located between the 8 courts. From this vantage point, the symbol of doom observes the mortal world in the outer planes, constantly searching for new patterns and hidden truths. Mother Vulture. Though her usual appearance is that of a blind young woman, the flesh-eater's true form is that of an enormous bloated creature with 4 wings and 2 long necks, each crowned with a masked head and a gaping maw. Known as Mother Vulture, she embodies the dualistic process of decay. On one hand, she is a vicious predator whose carnivorous feasts stain the ground, symbolizing the death that accompanies decay. On the other hand, she assumes the role of a nurturing mother, representing the potential for new life that can take root in the fertile soil left behind by destruction. Mortal worshippers of Mother Vulture often reside in deserts and swamps, and venerate her as the patron of consumption, renewal, and transformation. In this latter aspect, she has served as the judge of souls who sought redemption during their lives. Mother Vulture assesses whether their efforts at atonement were sufficient to avoid an undesirable afterlife. Mrtyu, Death's Consort. Mrtyu holds a unique distinction as the first mortal to die with love on his lips, which intrigued Pharasma. Fascinated by this concept, she pursued the soldier's soul, using him as a conduit to comprehend the emotions of the living. As Death's consort, Mrtyu embodies powerful passions, a rare commodity within the Boneyard, and he embraces the souls of those who perished in the grip of intense emotions. He serves as the usher for soldiers, murder victims, suicide cases, and those who died in the throes of extreme emotions. For Mrtyu, every rising ghost, wight, or other restless undead carries the weight of personal failure. A warrior and a lover, this usher also takes charge of Pharasma's defenses, collaborating with the Pale Horse to pursue those few who would dare to antagonize the Grey Lady. Retaining the appearance of his mortal origin, Mrtyu presents himself as a striking young man with deep dark sunken eyes and adorned with rock rose blossoms. The observant will notice a perpetual wound in his stomach where he was struck down in life. In one hand he carries a basket of fresh fruit or flowers, while the other wields a rusted greatsword named Ardor. He tends to his realm, the garden Anima, nestled among Pharasma's courts, providing a tranquil sanctuary for souls who need time to reflect and converse following particularly traumatic deaths. As the usher known as Death's consort, he has a unique bond with Pharasma, and can often be found at her side. Narakaas, the Cleansing Sentence. Narakaas is a unique entity, a composite born from countless fragments of souls that were cleaved off as mortals grew and discarded parts of themselves. Narakaas embodies personal choices, self-sacrifices, and the numerous small deaths that occur before a soul finally reaches the Boneyard. Narakaas possesses a profound understanding that a broken thing, especially one that has been repaired, is not diminished in value, but rather transformed, sometimes even becoming more precious for the history it now carries. In mortals, such personal changes are often accompanied by physical and emotional pain, and many souls find themselves straddling two extremes, or failing to complete their transformation before their death. Narakaas represents the acceptance of pain and the growth it fosters. They do not, however, take pleasure in pain, and beings that revel in pain, such as chitons, are abhorrent to the cleansing sentence. Surprisingly optimistic given their domain, Narakaas firmly believes in the power of redemption, and they have even managed to sway some chitons to align with the cause of the Boneyard. The manifestation of the cleansing sentence appears as an androgynous humanoid form with stag-like legs composed of thousands of smaller pieces held together by radiant golden light. Their otherwise featureless face is adorned only with simple, expressionless eyes and tear-streaked marks. Their divine realm, the Menagerelle, resembles a patchwork landscape assembled from 1,000 painful memories of home. The Pale Horse. Once the Pale Horse roamed the astral plane, callously poaching souls from the river, indulging in their suffering with no remorse. Conflicting accounts exist regarding whether this abominable entity was a demonic harbinger or one of the dreaded horsemen. However, as the Pale Horse feasted on mortal suffering, discontent gnawed at him. The weight of freedom, the burden of leadership, and the gravity of every choice shackled his heart and soured his once satisfying meals. In a moment of weakness he veered from his demonic nature and sought a purpose in service. Pharasma offered the Pale Horse respite, on the condition that he redeemed half again as many souls as he had condemned. Transformed by his newfound mission, the Pale Horse became Pharasma's avenging angel, hunting those who, like him in the past, stole from the River of Souls. Reveling in his duties and adhering to the tenets set forth by Pharasma, he commands his soldiers, who follow his orders unquestioningly. He embodies both the pain and the reward of servitude, guiding those who die in service and those who perish alone due to their woeful choices. His wrath is legendary, especially towards demons, and Abaddon has erased the lash and the plow's true name from its monuments and libraries as a consequence. Despite his apparent loyalty, some among the Psychopomps harbor concerns that the Pale Horse may remain a demon at his core, and they fear that upon completing his sentence he may unleash a similarly terrible vengeance upon the Boneyard. Phlegyas, the Consoler of Atheists. In life, Phlegyas was a gifted yet arrogant artist. Her pride led to her expulsion from Shaylin's church, but the clergy's attempt to erase her legacy failed, as admirers sought out her work long after her death. Pharasma recognized this powerful legacy as a fundamental aspect of the mortal experience, and elevated Phlegyas to the position of a patron for both art that outlasts its creators, and for those who reject their gods and forge their own path. With the passage of time, and with her own transformation to a demigoddess in her own right, Phlegyas's resentment towards the divine has cooled, but she and her servants do still provide solace to atheists who find themselves in the Boneyard. For godless souls who display potential, she reserves the opportunity to train them as psychopomps. Among the ushers, Phlegyas stands out as the most human, appearing as a tall, broad-shouldered woman wearing a simple plaster domino mask and carrying an oar that she uses to ferry those who reject the call of their gods. Her realm, the anonymous Logia, serves as a museum, housing works by long-forgotten creators that still hold a significant place in mortal cultures. Saloc, the Minder of Immortals. Saloc, the ultimate arbiter of mortal agency, finds delight in the malleability of the soul and the boundless potential within the living. As the Minder of Immortals, Saloc takes on the role of a legal defender for souls during their trials, passionately arguing that a soul's intentions and personal experiences should hold as much weight as the consequences of their actions. A bit of a sore loser, Saloc has even been known to resurrect mortals whose soul judgments the usher deemed profoundly unfair, giving these individuals a chance to showcase their truest selves. This disregard for traditional etiquette has made Saloc an unpopular figure among Psychopomps, and in particular he is despised by Vale, who sees the Minder of Immortals' tactics as ironically juvenile. As an usher born from mortal aspirations to defend their actions and decisions, Saloc predates most other ushers, and even some other gods. They manifest as a rough humanoid figure, characterized by a featureless face adorned with stag horns and orbited by two eye-lined golden rings. The Minder of Immortals rules over a vast domain, the twisting planar metropolis known as the Spire's Edge. Within this city, the least developed souls of the Boneyard reside, either striving to find their purpose or slowly fading away into cosmic dust. Tashallas, the primordial poison. Upon realizing that mortals clung too tightly to life, reluctant to part with it when their time had come, Pharasma took action. She reached down, lifted up an asp, and transformed it into the usher known as Tashallas. The venom of this primordial poison is age itself, and it would flow through the veins of all mortals, gradually robbing them of memory, passion, and vitality, until they eventually welcome the embrace of death. While many curse the usher's name, viewing them as an example of Pharasma's indifference and cruelty, others see the wisdom that lies in the poison's dose. They understand that the very fluids that can bring death also hold the power to bring life. Tashallas' touch allows mortals to grow and mature, granting them the opportunity to experience and acquire wisdom that eluded them in their earlier years. While Dammar serves as the usher of doctors and healers, Tashallas serves as the patron for herbalists and those who refine nature's poisons into potent medicines. Tashallas also has a close association with scaly folk, overseeing the souls of kobolds, lizardfolk, serpentfolk, and other cold-blooded beings with intelligence. Manifesting as a serpent, Tashallas is supported by 4 feathered wings that are not physically connected to their looping body. They frequently wander the ethereal plane, but have established their dwelling in the Bower Antimony, a greenhouse teeming with poisonous plants and extreme temperatures. Devotees of Tashallas often maintain small gardens of poisonous plants as an homage and utilize their crops to distill a variety of medicinal concoctions. Vale, the Court of Ancestors. The Court of Ancestors arrived at the Boneyard, carried upon the first wave in the River of Souls. As the chief prosecutor, Vale serves the Boneyard, advocating for the judgment of souls solely based on external criteria and their impact, disregarding individual intentions. In addition to their role as a gatherer of knowledge, Vale also stands as an advocate for agnostics, making them the authority within the Boneyard concerning matters of faith unrelated to gods, such as philosophies and superstitions. Vale's manifestation comprises several naked androgynous figures merged into a singular being, crowned with a floating circle of white crystal. Their domain, known as the Mall of Jurisprudence, encompasses a winding network of libraries and offices. Vavaalrav, the Steeple's Skull. Vavaalrav, the brooding master of spires and steeples, stands as the architect of the Boneyard, born from the mortal yearning to leave a lasting legacy for the departed. As the patron and protector of sacred sites, his cold, earthy breath flows through the world's mausoleums with eerie reverence. He possesses little tolerance for those who disturb these hallowed grounds, and both Pharasmans and the superstitious alike carve his holy symbol into tombs or craft headstones in its likeness to safeguard the sites from malevolent spirits and grave robbers. Even the gargoyles that find residence on cathedrals, temples, and tombs pay at least token homage to this usher. Vavaalrav has established his abode within the Wailing Tor, a tall, steepled tower situated at the heart of the 8 courts. His manifestations takes the form of a skeletal grey figure, adorned in a breastplate, robe, and wings made of stone, sporting 3 eyes upon his right hand. Whether his countenance bears additional eyes remains a mystery, as the steeple's skull veils the upper half of his head with a delicate silk covering. Vonymos, the Morning Storm. Vonymos' essence is born from the overwhelming grief that mortals experience in the aftermath of loss, embodying both positive and negative transformations that can arise from mourning. This usher personifies depression, isolation, and desperation, but also finds inspiration in glorious last stands and renewed vigor, playing the role of a muse among the ushers. Vonymos' care extends to the souls of those who have succumbed to suicide, martyrdom, and calamities like natural disasters and plagues. The presence of the morning storm is often felt as a churning flood of emotions, overwhelming individuals until their emotional walls crumble before its tide. Their dwelling resides near a glass willow, overlooking the storm of shards, a cascade of broken floating stones that drift at the edge of the spire. Vonymos' manifestations are diverse, at times appearing as a wheel of water with wailing sounds and a single coppery brown eye, and at other times taking on the form of a cross between a crow and a knight,